Aussies have had their say on where they would want spending cuts in the budget as the Treasurer looks to tame rising inflation. 53% of people back reducing our foreign aid, 29% supported cuts in renewable energy programs. But those two areas actually only account for roughly 1% of the budget spend. When asked about changes to negative gearing or capital gains tax, more voters supported reductions than opposed them, although many were unsure. For their take, let's bring in broadcaster Justin Smith and founding director of Western Sydney Women, Amanda Rose. Morning to you.
Morning, Nat.
Justin, it's hard, isn't it? You know, if you were actually in charge, where would you cut?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, appreciate that. I like the way the Treasurer says that they're looking at improving the tax system. You know, this is that kind of thing just before the budget happens. We get told a few things, we get a few hints and whatever, and he said we're improving it. When is the last time that it was improved and we felt like we got a good deal out of it? I mean, this thing about capital gains tax, yes, there seems to be a majority of people that are supporting a change in the concession here, but the part of that poll is also, you know, as long as income tax is cut as well.
Yeah,
now,
as long as we get the money.
We're not close enough to an election to get an income tax cut yet. I mean, I might be cynical, but it just does not feel like it's coming for me anyway.
Yeah, so Amanda, if they did cut the capital gains tax discount, people say, yeah, I'll have that. If we can get a tax cut, would that really happen, and would it really create any more housing? That's really out to lunch on that.
Well, if you add more costs to an investor who has rentals and rents go up, and that happened in Victoria where rents went up 34% because they kept putting costs on the investors. This is going to cost you more. But, you know, Jim Chalmers doesn't realise there's literally a cash cow sitting right in front of him, and that's all the thousands, literally, of corporates who aren't paying any tax at all. There's billions of dollars in unpaid taxes because they're not making a profit and they manipulate the system. Go and target them instead of the mum and pop that has a side hustle of an investment property because they want to look after their future. So I think instead of hitting the people who are trying to, you know, not rely on the government in their retirement by having an investment property.
Which they were encouraged to do at one point.
Yes, which they were, exactly.
Yeah.
And go and get the taxes off the large companies that aren't paying a cent.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Right. It's criminal because everyone else seems to be paying a lot of tax.
I know I am.
Yeah. Everyone's putting their hand up. Moving on, 11 ISIS families consisting of 34 Australian women and children who were on their way back to this country have been turned back not long after leaving their Syrian camp. An official said the return was paused for an unspecified period of time, but speculated it was actually because 3 Australian men accompanying that group had not organised the correct permissions. Justin, should these women and children be allowed back into this country?
No, I mean, it's hard to know what happened on the ground here because it seems to be incredibly complicated. But doesn't there seem to be some sort of unnecessary cruelty going on here? Either we try to help them out and we say, yes, you've been cleared by the security services and you're allowed to be back in, or you're not. Sort of one way or the other. We've sort of been caught in this no man's land, or no woman's land, as it turns out to be, for so long now. I think shouldn't the government be looking at one way or the other here?
Well, the government, Amanda, the federal government says we have nothing to do with this operation. We are not assisting them in coming back. And a lot of Australians said, you went in 2019 to marry an ISIS fighter. Too bad, go away.
Well, this is very complex because a lot of people are kind of forced to go over there and marry certain people, but they've spent 7 years in camp, so essentially 7 years in prison, and we've got now women and children who are Australian citizens. So I say leave the men there, right, because really they're the ones that brought them over, they're the ones that were fighting. Bring the women over, and like the government says, if they're found guilty of doing anything, then okay, you know, like any other Australian citizen, arrest them or punish them and so forth. But, you know, Justin's right, it is limbo. It's like, are you coming, aren't you coming? You're living in a camp. I think you're Australian citizen, women and children should be brought over and given a second chance. But the men who are essentially responsible for the orchestrating all of this can stay there.
So you say the women were made to go there to Syria under duress?
If you look at, if you do the research, most of them are. But even then, even if they were and they've been in essentially camp prison for 7 years, okay, come back to Australia. If they have been found guilty of something in Australia, so be it, but tell them that if you come back, you will be found guilty of A, B and C. But like Justin said, to have them in limbo and not knowing what's going on.
It's been way too long.
I agree.
You know.
Okay. Finally, the great debate about whether to mow your neighbour's nature strip has roared loudly once again, with division over whether a resident was right to not take care of their neighbour's untamed strip in Sydney's northwest. Look at the picture, Justin.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
Oh, look, I think there's an easy rule here.
Really?
If you know the neighbour, if you're on speaking terms and you feel like you could do it for them, that's fine. It's like adjusting somebody's collar. You don't reach out and touch and adjust somebody's collar unless you know them very well. So if you don't know them, just leave it alone,
do you
for
need
goodness
to
sake.
know them? I mean, would it be polite? You've got your mower out there. Do you need to, like, stop right there?
Maybe they like the Day of the Triffids look. Who knows? I mean, you know.
Well, even then, do good to those who hate you. You know, if you do mow it, you actually might be building a bridge and you don't know what they're going through. But just remember, that's council land that the resident is told to look after. So what's with that?
Keep your enemies close, is what Amanda's saying.
Well, no, I'm just saying be kind to your enemies is what I'm saying.
There you go.
Robert Duvall would be proud of that quote today.
Where do you stand on the nature strip? Thank you very much.